Hello students, welcome to you all once again in your English class. Today I am going to teach you chapter number 10 of your English grammar book, and the name of the chapter is Verbs. So students, what is verbs? Okay, all we do that is called verb, means all the action words that is called verbs, means eat, play, dance, sing, walk, run, write, read, all these words, these are the action words what we are doing. We are walking, we are singing, we are dancing, we are going, we are eating, we are jumping. Okay, so that is all words. Jump, read, write, play, walk. So these all the words are called verbs. So let's see the definition of verb. Verb is an action word that describes what the subject is doing. Okay, so as I told you, words are also called action word. Okay, and what they describe what the subject is doing. Okay, if I say I'm teaching you. Okay, so what I am doing? I am teaching. Okay, so teaching is my verb. Okay, and it tells about the subject that I am teaching you. Okay, so verbs that describes about the subjects, and that is also action words. It shows an action, state or an event. Okay, it is a main part of a subject which tells the story of what is taking place in the sentence. Okay, it is the main part of a subject. Let's see the example. We are studying grammar. Okay, so that is action word, means what we are doing, we are studying grammar. Okay, so that is our action word, and what are the verb here is studying. Now let's see the next sentence. He organizes summer camp every year. Okay, so what he is doing, he organizes. Okay, so that is verb event. Okay, that shows event. Okay, so it shows an action, state or an event, as I told you. Okay, so here in this sentence it is showing the event. Okay, and what the verb is here, the verb is organizes. Let's see the next sentence. Rohan walks in the morning. Okay, so Rohan walks. What does Rohan do in the morning? He walks. Rohan walks. So it is showing the state. Okay, so it is state of verb. Rohan walks in the morning. Now let's see kinds of verbs. So verbs can be different types based on their functions and their structure. Okay, so verb can be many types. Okay, based on their functions and structure. So based on functions, now we are reading verbs based on the functions. Okay, so verbs based on the function, it is two types: auxiliary verbs and main verbs. Okay, and auxiliary verbs, it is also called helping verbs. Okay, and again auxiliary verbs, it is two types. Primary auxiliary and modal auxiliary. Okay, and primary auxiliary means be, have and do, and modal auxiliary means all modals. Okay, so let's read this verb in detail. So the main verb. Okay, so what is main verb? Main verb are the primary verbs in a sentence. As I told you, main verbs also called primary verbs. They show the actual action performed by the subject. Okay, so they are the action word in the sentence. They can be used by themselves in a sentence. Let's see the examples, then it will be more clear to you. The nightingale sings sweetly. Okay, so what the nightingale does? The nightingale sings sweetly. Okay, so here our main verb is sings. Adam bakes delicious cakes. So what Adam does? Adam bakes delicious cake. So here the verb is bakes, and it is the main verb or principal verb. Now the next, let's read the auxiliary verbs. So what is auxiliary verb? Are verbs that are used before the main verb or to show different tense forms and the person and the number of the subject. Okay, so auxiliary verb that is always used before the main verb. Okay, and it shows the tense and the person and number of the subject. Okay, so according to the tense, according to the person and number of the subject, it will be changed. Okay, let's read the sentence. Vipul is playing the violin. Okay, so here our auxiliary verb is. Okay, and playing, it is main verb. So auxiliary verbs always comes before the main verb. Okay, so Vipul is playing the violin. Gajni and Rudrani were talking in the park. Okay, so here our subject is in plural. Okay, so here the verb we have written were. Okay, so it is our auxiliary verb, and walking, it is our main verb here. Okay, so the were, it placed before the main verb. Okay, I hope you all understood. Then next is auxiliary verbs. Again we are reading auxiliary verbs in detail. So auxiliary verbs are of two types. Okay, as I told you, primary auxiliary and modals. Okay, now let's read primary auxiliary verbs. What is the meaning of primary? What is the definition of primary auxiliary verbs? The verbs be, have and do are called primary auxiliary. Okay, be, have and do are called primary auxiliaries. These help the main verb show the number and person of its subject. Okay, so what is the work of the primary auxiliary verbs? They help the main verb to show the number and person of its subject. These are also called helping verbs. Okay, so primary auxiliary verbs also called helping verbs. Okay, these things you keep in your mind, students. Okay, that you have to remember. Now let's read the example. I am reading an interesting book. Okay, because here I, so we are reading am. Okay, am reading an interesting book. So it is our primary auxiliary verb. Let's read the next sentence. The students have completed their homework. Okay, so have it is, again we are having primary auxiliary verb. Her work does not need improvement. Okay, so here does, it is our primary auxiliary verbs. Okay, so primary auxiliary verbs, it shows the number and person of the subject, and it shows the tense also. Primary auxiliary verbs have different forms. Look at this tables. Okay, so primary auxiliary verbs have different forms. So now let's read these different forms. So this is our table, primary auxiliary, and the forms present tense and the past tense. Okay, so be. Okay, so in this category, in the present tense, am, is and are come, and in the past tense, was and were come. Okay, we'll read this in the detail in tenses. Okay, then have. Okay, have in this category, in the present tense, has and have come, and in the past tense, had come. Then do. Okay, in this category, does and do come, and in the past tense, did come. Okay. Now modal auxiliary verbs. So let's see what is the modal auxiliary verbs. Verbs like can, could, must, may, might, will, would, shall and should are called modal auxiliaries. They are always used with main verbs and can never be used as a full verb in a sentence. Okay, so you have to keep this in your mind, students, that we are using modal auxiliary with always with the main verb. Okay, and they cannot be used as full verb in the sentence. Okay, let's read the example. You may play in the evening if you finish your homework in the morning. Okay, so here our modal auxiliary verb is may. Let's read the next sentence. I can run for 10 kilometers at a stretch. So here our modal auxiliary verb is can. We should ask our teacher for help with the project. So here our modal auxiliary is should. Now let's move into the next usage of modal auxiliary. Okay, what are the uses of this modal auxiliaries? Modal auxiliaries are used to express permission, ability, suggestion, possibility or necessity. Why we are using this modal auxiliary verbs? Because to show permission, ability, suggestion, possibility or necessity. Okay, so now let's read in this detail. So the first is we use may to ask for and give permission. Okay, so why we are using may? May we are using in the sentence to for giving permission and for asking permission. Okay, let's see the example. May I come in, ma'am? Okay, so that is asking permission. When we ask permission, we always say may I come in. Okay, now let's next is you may come in. Okay, so in this sentence they are giving permission. You may come. Okay, so for asking and giving permission we are using may. Now let's read the next sentence. We use can and could to show ability. Okay, means sometimes, many times we say I can do this. Okay, I can fly, I can write, I can run. Okay, so to show the ability we always use can and could. So let's see the example. Ramiza can play the guitar well. Okay, he could solve the question paper on his own. So to show the ability, we use can and could. Now let's move into the next. We use should for giving advice or suggestions. Okay, so when we have to give advice or suggestions, so that time we have to use should. Means, let's understand this with example. We should never tell lies. Okay, so that we are giving advice, that we should never tell lies. Now next is, you should always walk on the footpath. Okay, so that is advice and suggestion. So that always gives in the with should. Now let's read the next. We use may, might and could to denote possibility. Okay, so again if we want to show the possibility, so we use may, might and could. Let's understand this with example. There may be a general strike tomorrow. Next is, the substitutive fielder might play in the next month. There could be heavy rainfall this evening. Now let's move into the next. We use must to show necessity. Okay, if we want to show necessity, okay, then we use must. So example, you must attend the assembly every day. Okay, so here in this sentence they are showing a necessity. Okay, necessity, that you must attend the assembly. Next is, we must win our next match to qualify for the finals. Now let's read the 6th point. We use will, shall and would to show future actions. Okay, so if we want to show the future action, we can use will, shall and would. So let's read the sentence. We shall meet our principal tomorrow. Okay, so that is a future action. Okay, so we are saying this action in we are with using will, shall and would. I shall not attend the school on Friday. The teacher said that she would give us each a chocolate for the right answers. He will not reach on time for the show. Now let's move into the next. We use will and shall to show our intentions. Okay, so we can, if we want to show our intention, what do we want? Okay, so that time we use will and shall. Let's read the sentence. I shall never tell a lie again. Okay, so that is in this sentence I am showing my intention. I shall never tell a lie again. We shall trek all the way up to the top of the hill. I will win this match. I will sing a song for his farewell. Now to form negative sentence, we add not to the modal auxiliary. Okay, so if we want to show the negative, okay, so what we'll add not to each modal. Okay, let's understand this with example. He could not solve the difficult sum. Okay, it is a negative sentence, and to show the negative sentence we'll add not with the modal auxiliaries. Okay, you will not play unless you are told to. Okay, so that is our negative sentence. With that, students, I am also explaining you transitive and intransitive verb. Okay, so what is transitive verbs? Transitive verbs are those verbs which need an object to complete their action. Okay, so transitive verbs also need object to complete its meaning. Okay, and intransitive verbs are those verbs which do not need any object to complete their action. Means intransitive verbs not need any object to complete its meaning. Let's understand this with example. Sindhu won a silver medal. Okay, so here the verb, it is transitive verb, right? Okay, and why it is transitive verbs? Because it needs an object. If we say only Sindhu won, then you will not able to understand what the sentence is. Okay, and if I say Sindhu won a silver medal, then you can easily understand the sentence. Okay, so it is our transitive verbs because it needs an object to complete its meaning. Now let's see the next. The police caught the thief. If I say only the police caught, then you don't understand. Okay, but if I say the police caught the thief, then you can easily understand. Okay, so caught, it is a transitive verbs because it needs an object to complete its meaning. So that's why it is called transitive verbs. Okay, and as I told you, intransitive verbs, these verbs needs not any object to complete its meaning. Let's understand this example. The child slips all day. Okay, so if I say the child slips, then you can easily understand the child slips. Okay, so here the verb slips needs not any object to complete its meaning. So that's why it is our intransitive verbs. and the birds are chirping. Okay, so again chirping, it is our intransitive verbs because it needs not any object. So these are your transitive and intransitive verbs. This was all about your grammar, students. Thank you.